Did you know that suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the US as a whole? Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. Hey guys, welcome to Tell Your Story, where we talk about life, addiction, and other topics that I think are important. My name is Nathan. This week I've got a super exciting topic about suicidal thoughts and personal harm. As most of you know, and I've shared it on this channel, my addiction was with alcohol. And in the past, I wasn't such a great guy. Believe it or not, I have a little experience in this category. With my addiction came a little bit of depression, some outward thinking that was just jumbled up with a brain that kept moving. Some of the things that came with that depression in my addiction were thoughts of harming myself, also thoughts of suicide, and I kind of did some of that. I've got the scars on my wrist to prove it. Taboo is definitely the word to use when thinking of the terms suicide and self-harm. But to be honest, they're a lot more common than you think. Something like 30% of all people over the age of 12 think about doing harm to themselves and or others. It's obviously a leading cause of pain in the world that we live in. And it seems that sometimes suicide seems to be a privilege of the wealthy. And I know that that sounds terrible, but here in the US, we have a much larger rate of suicide than almost anywhere else in the world. And I think that there's something to be said for the fact that money just doesn't bring you happiness. Material things seem to lead us into a negative place before they ever help us, fix any problems in here and or in here. I had a lot of the symptoms that led to those darker places in my mind. I isolated from people. Of course, drinking more didn't help anything. My self-worth was way down here. Looking in the mirror was a hard thing to do. And there wasn't anybody out there that I thought could help me in any way. So instead of reaching out for help, I drifted further into the back of my mind. I got super drunk one night. I decided to take a knife to my wrist. Didn't cut any veins, but I cut open the skin pretty bad. And I have a few very large scars from what I did. It is kind of embarrassing, but why would I say it's taboo? If you don't know the definition of taboo, it means that society has a way of not talking about it. They don't want to bring it to the forefront and put it on the table. When somebody goes through a situation that's painful and they put themselves in a life-threatening situation, most people don't want to deal with that. They don't want to face the trauma that happened to that person. And arguably, I think that's normal. A lot of people don't like facing pain. Hell, I don't like the term taboo, but from somebody who has been in that situation and who has tried to harm themselves, you need to know. If you don't talk about it, there's no healing involved. Let me just tell you, the only way to get out of that brain of yours that keeps moving is to recognize the feelings that you're already having. Those are the self-loathing, the helplessness, all of the anxiety that you feel if you're withdrawing from people. If you're in any way or shape or form in those places, you're probably at risk to yourself and maybe even to others. And in some cases, you'll find that a lot of people believe that it's the most selfish version of death, right? You're doing everything on your own, it's all about you, blah, blah, blah. And in most cases that might be true. I happen to think that these people are brave. I'm too much of a coward to put a gun to my head, Let me hit you with a myth. Those people that take their lives that seem just nuts, people that commit suicide are not crazy and they are not insane. Usually what they are is just grief-stricken, stressed, and full of anxiety. And they just don't know how to handle those emotions. Let's face it, the world's not a pretty place. If you ever find yourself in a position where you might know or see someone that's talking about death, saying goodbye, seems hopeless, please speak up. More often than not, if that person was anything like me, they were just too afraid to say the things that were in here. And to be honest, no one wanted to listen. Sometimes it means telling a person that you don't understand, but that you're willing to hear what's going on. No one has to be embarrassed about what's going on the inside. We just need someone else to sit down and let us say it. If you're having these thoughts, let me tell you, from experience, from this guy, the way you're feeling right now will change. 6 months from now, you're not going to be in the same place you are. You won't be where you have been. And that's the truth. Just like in my addiction with alcohol, I just had to tell myself, if I could just hold off for 1 more hour, that's all I would need. And now I'm doing the same thing with cigarettes. I gotta stop smoking. It's even harder than alcohol. Always understand that life is precious. Your life, mine, those that are around you. You mean something to this world, and it may not always be in the biggest way you think. My favorite example is that you might have smiled at someone today. You might have shaken someone's hand. That, man, they needed that. If you were in a place that I was in at that time, back up, and smile. Because every waking minute that you're able to open your eyes is an absolute miracle. You are a miracle, and you don't have to be in pain. I was. No, not so much. Life's not so great. I still know that. I'm in a better place than I was, but it still has a tendency to beat me down. But the minute that I reached out and someone told me, you don't have to feel that way, that kind of gave me a little more ease. And what do you know? I don't feel that way anymore. So if you're out there suffering, if you're in pain, if you have nothing left, if it's hopeless, life has no meaning, all of that negativity, take a minute and just sit down. Go back to the basics. Breathe. And try again. I'm going to leave a number, if you need it, in the show notes today. Some folks that you can call to get that help. If this wasn't enough. But if it was, and maybe I gave you some insight, spread the word. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.